Okay, so fine, so we will start. So yesterday we have discussed about control statements, right? Select statements first. So then we have discussed about iteration. So third one is the jump statements. So selection statements we have used if, so else if, switch, so iteration for while, do while. So now we will learn so jump statement, break and continue. Okay, so what is a break statement? What is continue statement? So then first we will see the practical, then we will come for the theory point. Okay. So for example, I'm writing one simple for loop. So for, so where I equal to 0, so I less than, so some number 10, I plus plus. So this is simple for loop. Just I'm trying to iterate each and every values. If you try to print I, so we will get the 0 to 9. Okay, so console 0 to 9 is printing, but I want to filter the data. So I don't want all the values. So if you want to filter the data, so inside for loop, we have to write the if condition. If, so that I value is continue from the 0 to, so 9 values, right? So for example, if 0, I value 5, so in that situation, so then what will happen, right? So then after that, outside, I'll try to print the result again. Okay, so but I'm writing one special condition, that is for filtering the data. If I equal to 5, then we have to write break. So break, it will not print the from that particular position. So which value we are providing here. So from that onwards, it will not print the values. But actually, it should print 0 to 9. But I'm giving at the time of 5. So we need to break. So if you give the break keyword, it will come out from the for loop, not from the if block. Okay, just remember this point. So break is used for the jumps out from the for loop. So that's why, so from I equal to 5, then so it will not loop would be there, so it will not continue. So whenever it will come 5, so then it will not execute that line. So break would be there. So then immediately come out from the for loop. So then it will not continue remaining things. So if you give the continue keyword, so then what will happen? So same story, but the thing is, so whenever I equal to 5, continue means accept that particular 5 value, so remaining values will continue here. So like 6, 7, 8, 9, it will print, but it will not print the 5 value. So means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, it will print, 5 will not print because continue means only jumps one iteration in the particular loop. So based on that, if you write two conditions, then two iterations. If you write three conditions, three iterations based on your condition, so it will jump over only those iterations. Okay. So normally, so I'm writing only one condition, so jumps over one iteration. So if you use a break condition, break statement, so jumps out completely from the so for loop. Okay, we will write the definition, then we will see. So break statement is used to so jumps out of a loop. Sir, can you explain switch case example with this? Okay, so you did not do that one. Okay, fine. So let me explain that one. So I think you have already done right yesterday. Okay, so you have an issue with that one, jump? Oh, sorry, that hours related things. So you have to take the Monday, so that one, so and remaining things Tuesday too, like that you have to take it. Okay, fine. So let me do it fast. Okay, first you need to understand this break statement, then we will go for the switch. So break statement is used to just jumps. So out of a loop, it is nothing but so break statement. So if you use continue statement, just jumps over. So is used to jumps over one iteration loop. Okay, so then we have to write it break and continue here. So that's it, right? So you understand about break and continue. So break means it will break the entire loop. So continue means it will break only that particular iteration. Okay, remaining things it will continue. Okay, fine. Someone is asked. So what is that particular switch day wise? So I will try to use day from the data object, or otherwise if you want we can hard code it. So const, okay, we should not use anything here. So day. So generally, if you want to use, so you can get it from the data object, don't worry. So if you don't know, so we have to hard code the value. This is actually, we have to get it. So then we will get, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So like that. Okay. So at present, we have to hard code it. So where d equal to, so today, so Sunday means 0, Monday 1, right? So we will show you both. So now what we have to do, we will write the switch case, day, okay? So case 1, we have to write, or if you want, we can start with the 0 also, no issues. So then we have to write console.log, okay? So Monday, okay? Then we have to provide the break. Similar way, case 2, so you have to provide the, guys, please mute your mics. Tuesday and break. Okay, so like this case 3. So we have to write, oh, it is console.log Wednesday. Okay, so break. So here I don't want to write all those things. Now you understand, right? So finally, if you want to provide a default value, so default. So then we have to write console.log. No need to write again break. So if it is 0, we have to write for the 0 also if you want. So or otherwise we will write so Guys, please mute your mics. So before, after joining, just mute your mics. Okay. So if you want to write, so something default way, so Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So then, so wrong day, you have chosen something, you have to write it. Or otherwise, if you did not mention anything, so then by default it would be a Sunday. Then don't mention 0. Okay, so this is the way you have to write it. Okay, so now check it out. So Monday is coming. Even if you did not provide this one, we have to use generally this approach. Still Monday is coming. Today is Monday because we are getting so date object. So from the date we can get the day. So that day is nothing but Monday. Monday starts with 1. So Sunday starts with 0. So that's why we are getting Monday. Okay, so this is the way you have to do the switch keys, what we have seen earlier. Okay, fine. So this is the simple example for the switch case. So mostly we will use so if else if else only. Okay, but some scenarios we will use this one. Sir, it is automatically with system day with get day. Yes. So this date, so we have to get it automatically from our system date. So in future, we can provide our own customized dates also. We can pass the year, month, and date here. We will discuss separately one session for the data object. Don't worry. Okay. So try it. Otherwise, I'll ping you. Try to continue remaining things. Oh, sorry, everyone. Okay, fine. So previous example also I did not ping you. I think you already aware. Okay, so you can use break also. Fine guys, now we will move to the important topic that is functions. So till now what we have learned, those all are JavaScript fundamentals. So now onwards we are moving to the little bit advanced. So that is JavaScript functions. So we will discuss a little bit more about these functions. Okay, so what is function? So why we have to use functions, all those things we will learn. So just we know already how to create function, right? By using function keyword, then function name, then open parenthesis, close the parenthesis, and open curly brace and close the curly brace. So if you want to invoke this function or if you want to call this function, so we have to provide like this. So till now, so till here we have learned, but function, if you want, we can provide the parameters also. So parameter 1, parameter 2, so until parameter n, so we can pass multiple parameters. So inside the function, so we will write the business logic code here. Okay, so once we pass the parameters, for example, if you pass parameters names, so then we can pass those many parameter values. Okay, so just remember this is the function syntax. Okay, so now let me write down some 3 points. Each and every point is very important. Function is a block of code, right? So this is block of code. So block of code which is used to perform so a particular task. Okay, for example, so this is okay, we can write parameters. For example, this is syntax, we can write it. Coming to the example wise. simple example, add operation. Check the naming conventions also. 1 second. So function add operation, I can provide a comma b parameters. So call the function add operation something 2 comma 3. So here I'm writing business logic, display the values, that's it. E plus. Okay, so if you want to write a little bit more about this one, so where result one variable, so then we have to take it, so where a result equal to, so a plus b, then we have to provide inside. Okay, so inside result variable. So this whole thing is nothing but we will call it as logic. Okay, so this add operation function parameter we are calling function with parameter values, and we are writing inside that is business logic. Okay, so that business logic we know simple add operation. Okay, so what is the main advantage of this one? A block of code. So block of code, so then which is used to perform a particular task. So that particular task is nothing but add operation, right? Second point. So a function is defined with the function keyword. I'm writing that syntax related theory. Function keyword followed by the, so name of the function, and then a pair of parentheses. A pair of parentheses which will contain the, so which will contain the parameters. So each and everything is have written. So a function is defined the function keyword, right? So followed by the name of the function, okay? Followed by the, so name of the function, and then a pair of parentheses we are using. So finally, which will contain the parameters. So these are the things we are using inside the function. Same syntax I have written with 3 points. So now, third point. So the main advantage of function is reusability of code. This is very important. So reusability of code. For example, we are writing add operation a comma b. So if you want special result, so what we have to do? We have to call add operation 2 comma 3. So then if you want add operation, so 4 comma 8. So here it will give 5, here it will give 12, but so we should not change the function logic. So this function is reusability. So we are getting different results, but the function code will not change, right? So that is the main advantage of functions. We will see in future. So generally, if you want to take, so banking application, the best example is banking. So inside the banking, so every customer, so this is banking app. So for example, HDFC Bank something. Okay. So here in the HDFC Bank, we will write only one method. So that is save operations. So based on the customer ID amount. So this is the function we will write it, right? Function save operations. So for each and every customers, we will write the same function, we will use it. Even similar way, we will write withdraw operation. Okay, so withdrawal operation also based on the customer ID, how much amount if you want, we can do it. So these functions we will write only once for all the, so 1 crore customers are available for the HDFC Bank, for example. So, but don't write multiple times, even if you want to save the amount for you, for me, for everyone. So we have to write only one time, but we have to change the parameter values, right? So that parameter names we are writing here, but while invoking this function, we will change the parameter values based on the customer, right? So that's why, so functions are reusability of code. Okay, so then fourth point. So fourth point, so we can use, see, same point, I'm writing a little bit different approach. So we can use the same code many number or many times with different arguments. Just now we have explained, right? So same, so with different arguments. So to produce different results. Okay, so that is the thing we have written already. See here, so we have written function. So while invoking this function with different arguments, 2, 3, 4, 8, something, to produce different results. So if you want to write result, here it will display 5. So here it will display 12. So that is the fourth point. Okay, so this is the function. So then we have to write the function syntax. So then we have to write the function example, this one, and how to invoke the functions, right? So now, so whenever we have to write the functions, there's first we need to remember 4 points. So while writing, so any function, so we have to remember, so below rules or points or something as you wish. What are those? First, we have to remember define function. So first we have to create means define a function. Then we have to write calling a function. So even if you write the function inside, you have written 1,000 lines of code, no usage. If you call that function, then only that 1,000 lines of code will execute. Okay. So next one is, so that function returns something. So if you write something, that function give return something, right? So return means a returning function. And finally, so parameterized function. Sometimes, so parameters are optional, but sometimes it is mandatory parameterized function. So define a function, calling a function, returning a function, parameterized function. So this returning a function, we will discuss a little bit more later stage. But till now we have discussed define a function, calling a function, and parameterized functions. So these 4 points you should remember. Okay. So now we will discuss about ways of creating functions. We have different approaches to create functions. What are those ways? We will see now. I think someone pinged me, so we are not writing, sir. So you can continue class. That's why I don't want to give the time. So if you want to write, then ping me, then I will provide you some time. Okay, if required. Yeah, fine. So now we will go for the different ways of creating functions. Okay, so first I want to write function declaration. So this is the first approach we have to use it. How to write function, for example, add operation something. So this is function declaration. Okay, so next one. So anonymous function. So anonymous function is nothing but just, so there is no name for that function. Then you will get immediately one doubt, sir. So without name, that how to invoke this function, right? So business or so then you will get immediately one doubt, sir, what is the use of this function, right? So we can use this anonymous or nameless functions. So at the time of function parameters. So those function parameters is nothing but callback functions. Okay, so I will explain in detail that callback functions later. So, but here, these anonymous functions we can use so at the time of function parameter, and also we can use at the time of self-invoking functions and if both are same. Immediately invoked function expressions. Okay, so that is one of the ways of function creation we will see. But anonymous functions also we can use it, but directly we can't communicate, we can't invoke this function, but we have another approaches. So let me write here this approach, then you can understand. So normally we know function parameters. So my func is the function. So A, B, C, D, number, string, boolean. So D, so function, E, array, F, object. So generally, if you write function, so we can pass the parameters, maybe number, string, boolean. So what else? Function. See, here I'm writing anonymous function. Okay, so that D equal to this function, right? So if you write a D equal to function, then we can call. So that is nothing but next function. So anonymous function expression. Okay, don't worry. So I will explain detail. So this is, so if you write any function, if you write multiple parameter names, what are the parameter values we can pass, right? So array of numbers, array of strings, array of booleans, again we can pass, and object also we can pass. So here array of numbers, array of strings, array of booleans, or array of objects also we can pass. So these many things we can pass for the parameters, right? So one of the ways is I'm trying to pass so this anonymous function. So this function is nothing but callback function. Okay, we will discuss a lot regarding this callback functions inside the functions concept only. Okay, fine. Just understand. Yeah. So anonymous function is over. So now next one is so third function. So anonymous function expression. So anonymous function expression. So generally variable, if you assign any variable value, so where a equal to 2, right? So this is nothing but we are assigning the value for the variable. Similar way, we can assign this is number, right? So this is string, right? So the similar way we can assign one function also, right? So this is nothing but anonymous function expression. Okay, so we can assign number, string, boolean, array, object, or function. So if you assign So function for the variable, so this is nothing but anonymous function expression. So for variable number string boolean, we will call it as initialization. For function level, we will call it as expression. That's it. But sir, can we call this function? So can we call this function directly? No. But can we call this function directly? Yes. So based on the reference variable. Okay. So how to call this function? And something. Here we can't directly, but here we can call like this. So based on the reference variable, so we can call this function. If it is parameters are there, a comma b, so then you can call with parameter values 2 comma 3. So this is nothing but anonymous function expression. So next one. So automatically, so anonymous function expression is there. We have same as named function expression should be there. So those things we know, normal things. So named function. Okay, so we have written starting, right? So that is actually named function. So our function declaration. So named function expression, we will write it. So here one question for you. So function. So I'm writing. So if you write function var something add result or something variable, you can write bc like the same way I'm writing one add result variable. So then how to call this function? Do we need to call with this one or do we need to call with this one? Could you please ping me fast? So how to call this function? Either add result or add method. Which one is the correct? Make it fast. I need ping from everyone. Okay, fine. So most of the members, they have given a result. Yes, so this is the correct approach. So this is the wrong approach. But so can we use this add method for this? Yes, we can use it. We will use one example. So at the time of recursive, but not so outside the function. So where we have to use this add function, if you want, we can use inside this function block, but not outside. If you want to call this function, so then we have to use with the reference variable. Now you need to remember only one point. So if you provide so named function expression or anonymous function expression, so we have to invoke with that variable only. So either named or anonymous. But so when to use this one? So inside the function, so if you want, we can use this function, but not outside. So at the time of recursive function, so I will show you how to use this function and means that function name and how to use this one. We will show both. Don't worry. So this is the way we have to do it. So now at present, just remove this one. Okay, so by using add result. And fifth one is fifth one is IIFE. So immediately invoke function expression. So the same name, we will call it as immediately invoked means, so the function calls itself self-invoking. So we will also call it as self-invoking function. You can call any one of the name. Okay, so here how to write. So just remember the syntax. I will explain detail this example. So just see the syntax here. So where, so if you want, you can write any variable name as you wish. So here I'm trying to write 3. So this approach also we can use. Or, so inside the parenthesis, we will write like this also. So any one of the approaches, okay, you can use it. So, but later we will write that is shorthand, okay. So we have to write the function, okay. So here also we have to write the function. So if you have any parameters, so you can write, so a comma b. So here you can call 2 comma 3. So then no need to call this function separately. So here immediately that grouping is there. So it will invoke that function. Okay. Similar way here also 2 comma, sorry, a comma b here. So 2 comma 3. So this is nothing but self, means self. Immediately at the time of function definition only, we are invoking self invoking function or immediately invoked function. Okay, so you can call any name. So these are the 5 approaches to create the functions in JavaScript. So first one is, so named function expression, anonymous function expression, self-invoking function or immediately invoked function expression. So we will shortcut, we will call it as pronunciation, IFE, not IIFE. So we will call it as pronunciation, IFE. So that is immediately invoked function expression. Okay, so these are the theory part for the functions. So now we will go for the practical. Please explain fourth Miva. Fourth one just named function expression. So generally we will write named function how? So I will erase the whole thing. So no one is writing, right? Okay. So he asked fourth one. So normally whenever we have to write the function, how to write it? So add a comma b. So we know this function, right? 2 comma 3. So this is normally named function. So name is there, so that's why named function. So even though we can assign one variable for this, so this is nothing but named function. We are assigning variable, so that assigning variable is nothing but expression. So named function expression. Okay, so then how to call this function, that is important. So normally, so if you want to call this named function expression, so we have to call generally add comma 2 comma 3. Most of the members, they will confuse, right? So not like this. So if you want to call that function outside, so we have to use that function, so expression a comma 2 comma 3. But sir, when to use this function name? If you want to use this function name inside this function block, we can use this function name. But outside that function, so we have to use always, so that function expression only. Okay, so that's why we are calling with a or something. If you want to write add res something, so that add result. Okay, we need to pass the parameter based on how many parameters are there. So those many parameter values we have to pass it. Okay, so this is nothing but named function expression. So now we will see, so example of functions. Okay, fine. Function addition. Okay, so now what we have to do? So we need to write some addition function we need to call. How to call? Addition. So if I pass parameters, so a comma b, so the same thing we can pass sem2 comma 3. So console.log a plus b. Okay, so now how much it will display? So 5. Okay, so if you want to write any static data, so then how to use it, that static data? So quotes, even single quote or double quote. So and the result is, so like that we have to specify. Okay, so that is static data and result is 5 something. So what we did here, just so we have hard coded data. So if you want to display result, okay, so if you want to write individually, so where result, so result equal to, so a plus b, so these many lines of not required. So finally, so we have to display the result. Same story, and result is 5. Okay, so this is normally, so we have to call from JavaScript to JavaScript, but I want to call this function from HTML. So then how? So we can call JavaScript functions from the HTML also. So how? By using on-click event. So in JavaScript, so functions, if you want to call from HTML, so we have to use multiple events. On click, on blur, on mouse over, on mouse leave. These are the event names. So not only this, so we have multiple events are there, but normally in real time we will use so on click, on blur, on mouse over, on mouse leave. So these are the events generally we will use in real time, mostly on click. Okay, so now I'm trying to write, so first, so HTML code, then we will go for JavaScript. So body, if you want. So first I'm writing first number. So input type equal to text. So ID equal to first number. Second number. Okay. So finally we have to provide the one div button. So you can use button by using so input type equal to button. Okay, so button name we have to provide the value, or you can use button also, button tag. So we have provided, and then we have to provide on click equal to, so I want to write addition function. Okay, so the same thing, form is displayed or not, we will verify first. Yeah, it's working. So if you want, we can provide the pre-tag. So pre-tag will display so one by one. Save. Okay, so here format document. Yeah, so here, so I have written something, so HTML. Okay, yeah. So here I'm writing addition function. So now inside the JavaScript, what we have to do? See, if you want to call from HTML, we have to use the on click. This is the event name. So this is the function name. So whenever we have to write the function, just copy paste. That is recommended. Don't try to type it in real time. So because I know Edison, I know the function names, we will type it, but we will miss something, but we are unable to find. So that's why I try to copy paste, always recommended. So function addition. So from HTML to JavaScript communication is working or not, we will check it out console.log. So addition function is calling something, we will check it out. So refresh, okay. And yes, from HTML to JavaScript communication happened. So now I want to fetch this data from HTML to JavaScript. So for that, so they have given document object. So we will discuss a lot regarding this document object later. Okay, so document object is having one method get element by id, okay, of same document.getElement by id.innerHTML would be there, right? So that is normal elements. If it is input related elements, so then we have to use values. So get element by id dot. So there we have used inner HTML if it is normal thing. Okay, we will use both here. Value. So the same thing we will write. So another one document dot get element by id second number. Okay. JavaScript is case sensitive. Value. So, but if I write like this much of line of code for fetching the data, so it would be, so if I want to reuse the entire thing, then it would be very difficult, right? So that's why we want to store entire this thing into one simple variable. So this whole thing is, so some 10 or 20 we are storing into FNO. So first number, SNO. So now if I want to reuse this one, so we can use simply this one. Okay, this is similar to so this is God, so this is a temple. So if you pray here, so then we will get the benefit from the here. Similar thing. So this is the best example for objects and reference variable. Okay, so fine. So no issues here. Finally, we are stored into FNO, SNO. So now I want to write the business logic. So console.log FNO plus SNO. But someone asked, sir, why we have to store console.log? I want to display inside the view page. So then what we have to do? So we have to provide where we want to display, right? So div, so on ID you have to provide result. So here, same story. So document dot get element by ID. So I want to display that JavaScript result. Okay, so dot inner HTML. So that FNO plus SNO. No, sir, I want to write better clarity. So then we have to take where result equal to FNO plus SNO means so fetching the data from the HTML 10 value. So for example, I have given in the text field 20 value. So now FNO is 10, SNO is 20. So FNO plus SNO 10 plus 20, 30. That 30 will be stored into result variable. So now if you want to print console.log that result, so directly it will print inside the JavaScript. But sometimes we want to display inside the view page. So then we have to use inner HTML where wherever ID equal to result is there, so I want to display that JavaScript result here. Okay, fine. Save. First of all, data is getting or not, we will verify. So console.log FNO, SNO. I'm trying to print the values. So 10, 20. If I click on add, yeah, 2020 from HTML to JavaScript, it's working. So now 10 plus 20, 30. So that 30, where we have stored. So inside the result variable, oh, this result is different. So result ID. So this is result ID. Okay, so now, so I want to display this result to the wherever result ID is available inside the HTML, there I want to display this edition. So now it will display the data. No, sir, I don't want to do all these things. So later stage, we will display in the view page only. No, sir, I don't want to do all those things. First, I need to understand the functions clearly. So then we have to write console.log result. Okay. So like this, finally that value, it will display here. So now go there. So 10, so 20, if I click on add, it will display 1020, but not 30. See why? Because so whenever we are fetching the data from the input text field, so these values are string values. So these string values, what will happen? So while fetching the data, so it will merge, means so inside the JavaScript, plus operator acts as a merging two strings. So that's why, so 10 plus 20, it will display 1020 because these are merging but not doing its operation because those two are strings. So what we have to do? So now we have to convert, yes. So we have to use parseInt, parsefloat, or generally we have to use so number constructor. Okay. So number of, so it will take care about integer and as well as floating. So don't need to write parseInt or parsefloat. So directly, so number of. So now that string value will convert it into, oh sorry, number. So now 10 plus 20, it will display 30. So that 30 will display. Okay. So now if I provide 10 plus 20, so if I click on add, it will display 30. Okay, so this is nothing but simple function from communicating from HTML and converting string to the number. Okay, this is the simple example of functions. Okay, so now, so I have given homework for you. So just, okay, so do this one. I will explain tomorrow. So you know the HTML field set and legend, right? So do this one. Calculator operation something. Okay, do it this one and create 4 color buttons. You know HTML and CSS. Try to do it different buttons colors for add, for sub, for null. So sub and finally null and div. Okay, so here I want to take first number and second number labels. Okay, and the second number. So you can apply the labels one colors because you know the CSS very well. I know. So you have to provide. So for first number, one text field, and second number, one more text field. Okay, so now here what you have to do, so add sub, so mul and div. But here I want to display the result. So inside another text field, that is the thing. So till now, everyone can do that one. So I want a result into, so one separate text field. So here, okay. So now, for example, if I enter 5, so if I enter 6, so I want to display, if I click on add, I want to display here 11. If I click on sub -1, if I click on mul, then so 30. If I click on div, some 0 point something. So like that, I want to display the result in the text field. Okay, so this is, you have to do it tomorrow. Okay, so tomorrow while coming to the class, you have to do this one. So if you did not do it, then I will explain, don't worry, but use HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So all the three things you have to use it, and better to use so this field set and legend also. Okay, so if you try to do it tomorrow, so then I will explain so real calculator also. So and you have to do that one, and I will try to explain. I will give you the some hint. So here, if you know the functions, these all are nothing. So we have to create clear button. If you enter some data, so then we have to clear. So then we have to provide numbers 1, 2, 3. So then some special button. So like that, you have to create real-time calculator. So like this. Okay, so first you have to do this one. So based upon that, if you understand, so then we can create easily this calculator, because we know HTML, we know CSS, we know so JavaScript also, means especially functions. Okay, so first I will verify this assignment tomorrow. Okay, so fine guys. So I will try to take Monday to Friday only 1 hour sessions. Okay, and try to do it this assignment. So next Saturday, Sunday, so I will try to take 2 hours classes, but Monday to Friday. So generally I will take 1 hour. Sir, can you please recap previous solution? Which one? This one, calculator operation. Delete. Then which one? Sir, can you please recap previous solution? For which one? You are saying this one? Okay, fine. Yeah, just a second. He is asking again, explain. So you know the how to create the two input fields, right? You know this one, right? So just ping me, or otherwise, are these mini project for understanding or official skill assignment? No, I will give you big assignments later, but this is the regular assignments, you have to do it.
So is this considered as an homework, right? It's not an proper assignment.
Yes. So you can
Okay,
take
sir.
it as small assignments, this one. So once we understand all the concepts, then I will give you the big assignment you have to do. It will take so 1 day or 2 days time for that. Okay. But initially you need to understand some concepts, and moreover, so you need to understand small assignments, and you have to modify the code also. So finally, we know the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So we have to design one website. We have to apply the JavaScript related operations for that. Okay, fine. Yeah, here just for practice purpose. Yeah, here I have provided so two input fields, right? So then I have created one button. So this is till now HTML code. Leave it about this one. So you understand from here to here, right? So just extra thing is we have provided this one. So why? if you want to communicate, if you want to call the JavaScript function from HTML, so we have to use the event names. We have to use it. So these all are events on click. So that is, so mouse click would be there. So these are the events related to the keyboards, mouse, all those things. So now at present, so this is mouse event that is on click. If you click on the button, so then we have to do the some logic. So that logic we have to write inside the JavaScript. But for that, I'm writing event name, then that function name. If I click on that event button, so then we need to call this function. So then it will come to here JavaScript. So inside the JavaScript, how to call? Directly we can call like this. But if you want to call through HTML, we have to call through event name. Okay, so after that, so if you want to receive the input field from HTML to JavaScript, we have to use so document dot get element by ID. So this is predefined object provided by the JavaScript API. So that object is having get element by ID is the method. So for that method, we need to pass the parameter. So that parameter and this ID must be same. So then only, so this text field value we can receive here. So generally we will get here, if you type this one, we will get the string value. But if you use string value 10 plus 2, that plus operator in JavaScript acts as a joining two strings. So, but I need to do addition operation. So for that, we need to convert into number. So maybe, so parse in, parse float or number, you can use any one of the approaches. Okay, parse int means it will give only integer, parse float means so it will give floating point values also, but number will take care about both, so means indirectly that floating point related things. So even it will take, so what is that floating point values if you use number constructor. Okay, so finally we got the, so those two values we are assigning to the two variables in the JavaScript. So I'm doing operation, storing into result. So finally we are displaying. Okay, so if you want to display, so inside the view page, so you have to give div id equal to something. So we know the inner HTML, right? So document dot get element by id of that particular id dot inner HTML equal to result. So then that id place, it will display this data. So this is the way we have to develop. So just retrieve the values and do the operations. So if you understand this one, so then, so 30% of JavaScript you should aware. So at the time of ternary operator, we have discussed, right, 20%. So we have covered so many things, simple form. So how to create the function, so how to call the function from HTML, how to retrieve the elements from the HTML form fields, and how to convert from string values to the number values, and how to write the business logic. So these all things we have covered. In future, same story. We will create forms and we will call the functions. So that form values we have to retrieve. So here we are retrieving inside the JavaScript function. In future, so these values we will send it to the database. That's it. Okay, fine, no issues. We will go one by one. Thank you guys. So we will meet again tomorrow. Okay, bye. Okay, I will ping you this code.